Okay, now let's learn about a new service which is Kinesis Data Firehose. So it is a very helpful service that can take data from producers and producers, producer can be everything we have seen for the Kinesis data stream. So application clients, SDK, KPL, all the Kinesis agents can all produce into your Kinesis data firehose, but also Kinesis data stream can produce into Kinesis data firehose. Amazon CloudWatch logs and events can produce into Kinesis data firehose or IoT. So, and all these applications are going to send records into Kinesis data firehose, and then Kinesis data firehose can optionally choose to transform the data using a Lambda function, but this is optional. And once the data is transformed optionally, then it can be written in batches into destinations. So Kinesis data firehose takes data from sources. Usually the most common is going to be the Kinesis data stream, and is going to write this data into destinations without you writing any kind of code, because Kinesis data firehose knows how to write data. So there are three kinds of destination with Kinesis data firehose. The number one category is AWS destination, and you need to know them by heart. Uh, so the first one is Amazon S3. So you can write all your data into Amazon S3. The second one is Amazon Redshift, which is a warehousing database. And to do so, it first writes the data into Amazon S3. And then Kinesis data firehose will issue a copy command, and this copy command is going to copy the data from Amazon S3 into the Amazon Redshift. And the last destination on AWS is called the Amazon Elasticsearch. There are also some other third-party partner destination. So Kinesis data firehose can send data. Kinesis firehose can send data into Datadog, Splunk, New Relic, MongoDB, and this list can get bigger and bigger over time. So we not update this if there are new partners, but just as you know, there are the partners that Kinesis data firehose can send data to. Or finally, if you have your own API with an HTTP endpoint, so it is for you to send data from the Kinesis data firehose into a custom destination. Okay, so HTTP endpoint, the bottom one is the custom destination HTTP endpoint. Okay, so once the data is sent into all these destinations, you have two options. You can also send all the data into an S3 bucket as a backup, or just send the data that was filled to be written into these destinations into a filled S3 bucket. So to summarize, Kinesis Data Firehose is a fully managed service. So there is no administration, automated scaling, and it is serverless. So no servers to manage. Okay, you can send data into AWS destinations such as the Redshift, Amazon S3, and Elasticsearch. Third-party partners such as Splunk, MongoDB, Datadog, New Relic, etc., etc., and a custom destination to any HTTP endpoints. You are going to pay only for the data going through Firehose. So this is a very good data processing model, and it is near real time. Why? Well, because we write data in patches from Firehose to the destination. So there's going to be a 60-second latency minimum for non-full batches, or you need to wait until you have at least 1 megabyte of data at a time to send the data into the destination, which makes it near real-time service, or and not a real-time service, or like it supports many data formats, conversion, transformations, and compressions, and you can write your own data transformation using Lambda, or data transformation logic using Lambda if you needed to. Finally, you can send all the failed or all the data into a backup S3 bucket also. Now, if we look into details how Kinesis data firehose delivery works, so this is, so our firehose is going to be here, and so our firehose is going to be here, and we are going to have a source of the data. So we can see the sources in this case is the Kinesis data stream, and Kinesis data firehose will perform some data transformation using Lambda. And you can have several blueprints available to you if you wanted to use, for example, a JSON to CSV type of transformation. Then the output is whenever you want to output your data to So in example, this is an Amazon S3 bucket, but if you are using Redshift, then the data is going to be copied from Amazon S3 into Redshift. And this is how Kinesis Data Firehose works for Redshift. And then finally, you can output the source records into another S3 buckets if you wanted to. You can also send any transformation failures that Lambda failed to do into Amazon and Amazon S3 bucket for later stage analysis, or any delivery failures in case your target was not available. You can make sure that this goes into Amazon S3 as well to make sure to recover from these failures in the future. So this is at a high level how Kinesis Data Firehose works. Now, as I said, this is near real time, so it's not real time because there is a buffer in Kinesis Data Firehose, and this buffer allows for more efficient load of data into the target destination. So all the records are going to be accumulated into the buffer, and that buffer will be flushed based on two things: time and the size rules. So the first is the buffer size is very easy to understand. For example, you can set it to 32 megabytes, and if the buffer size is reached, so if you get 32 megabytes of data in the buffer, then automatically it's going to be flushed and sent to S3, Redshift or Elasticsearch or Splunk. And then you have a buffer time setting. You have to set both, and for example, the minimum you can set is 1 minute, and so that means that the if after 1 minute you still have data in your buffer, then it's going to be flushed. So the idea is that if your buffer reaches 32 megabyte in this example, so or if you wait 1 minute, then it's automatically going to be flushed. Obviously, if you are very quick to reach 32 megabytes, then maybe the data is going to be in the buffer for only 10 seconds. But if you never reach that buffer size, then you can set the buffer time as the higher targets for when you want the buffer to be flushed. Now Firehose can automatically increase the buffer size to increase throughput. So you don't need to worry too much about it. If you have very high level of data going through Firehose automatically, it can scale up and on the need. The idea is that if you get high throughput, means a lot of data goes through Firehose, then the buffer size will be hit first, because obviously it will fill up very quickly. But if you have low throughput, then it's the buffer time limit that will be hit. Okay, that means that you are saying, okay, every 1 minute or every 5 minutes I want the data to be flushed out of the Firehose. Okay, so if you want to be real time, flush from Kinesis data stream into S3, and then you cannot use Firehose anymore. You need to use Lambda. Okay, and that will cost you a lot more to read in real time from the Kinesis data stream to send into S3. But Firehose is not the right way to do real time from the Kinesis data stream to S3. You have to use Lambda instead in that case. So a question that comes up at the exam usually is to understand the difference of when to use Kinesis data stream and Kinesis data Firehose. So it will be very easy for you to know if you followed closely, but let's summarize it. Kinesis data stream is a streaming service used to ingest data at a scale, and you write your own custom code for your producers and consumers. It's real time, so 200 millisecond or 17 millisecond, and you manage scaling yourself. You do shard splitting and shard merging to increase the scale and throughput. You are going to also pay for how much capacity you have provisioned, and the data storage in the Kinesis data stream can be between 1 to 365 days. So this allows multiple consumers to read from the same stream and also supports replay capability, whereas in the Kinesis data Firehose is an ingestion service to stream data into S3, Redshift and Elasticsearch. So a third party or a custom HTTP can also be one of the ingestion service. So it is fully managed, no service to manage, it is near real time. So remember, this near real time is a keyword you need to look at in your exam question, near real time. So there's automated scaling, so no need for you to worry about it. So, and you are going to pay only for what goes through Kinesis data fire. So and it doesn't support replay capability. So That's it for Kinesis Data Firehose, and I hope that makes sense, and I will see you in the next lecture.